All right, football with friends, fun as hell, live from Indy here again. Coming here live with you guys at a little bit of an early edition as we have a lot of things to do on the schedule, but pumped to kind of check in and talk about what we're seeing here. Of course, we are not getting to talk with players yet. Players are beginning to arrive. We saw a slightly undersized man, but certainly oversized as far as his the way the attitude he walks around with, and Diego Pavia and some other guys starting to starting to come in today.
Going with that.
But players we'll start getting our official availabilities with them tomorrow, including Anthony Hill, who is here, and as we'll talk about in a minute, has been a very, very busy man. Updates on him, updates on some players who were in the pros now, because today was the day we got to talk to NFL head coaches, NFL GMs, and so we're going to keep you guys updated on all of that. First, let's get you updated with your eyes. Man Eye Institute is where you can see life better. 1-844-WOW-2020 is how you can reach them. 844-WOW-2020. The Man Eye Institute is where you can see life better. We talk about them every day. Thanks so much to the Man Eye Institute for being our great presenting sponsor. Also, not our presenting sponsor, but our most terrific invention, the Alpha Seasoning. Go to alphaseasoning.com. It's Cody and I's line of spices, the Elite Spice Blend and the Longhorn Dust. Both available to you, both super easy to get. Just go to the website there, alphaseasoning.com, or scan the QR code. It helps us out. Your support means everything to us, but we're not just asking you to because we want you to support us. We really, really want to get this. We want to get this seasoning in your hands. So make sure and go check it out. Remember, if you buy 3 bottles, the shipping is free. Cody, oh man, and thanks to Poncho, dude. Like I'm wearing this flannel shirt here today. We're walking around. Cody's not wearing his poncho.
I had my poncho
right now,
on all day, but
like, you know,
I got too warm.
I'm not the most fashion-forward person, right? But the way that Poncho keeps us outfitted, we have some of the coolest clothes. Like our shirts, like these Poncho shirts just look so good compared to some of this scrubby stuff that some of these other media
some would say we're in the 1%,
which is
best dressed at the media.
Which to be honest, isn't saying much around here.
No, but I'd rather be part of the 1% than the 99.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks so much to Poncho Outdoors. Make sure and go check them out. Get 10% off your first order when you. Was there a QR code here to scan? We can show people. All right, there. Get 10% off the first order when you scan that QR code. So thanks to Poncho.
$10, not 10%.
Yep.
$10.
Oh,
10% is Texas Beef Traders.
10% is Texas Beef Traders. And we love them too. Our oldest sponsor. You guys know all about them. Texas Beef Traders. Get 10% off whenever you mention us. All right,
football.
And send us a chat if you guys have questions. We would love to hear from you.
Football. We had multiple updates about Texas players currently in the NFL. Like, we're going to have more stuff later in the week about current coaches on the staff, players that just left, hopefully some current players on the roster. But we talked to a number of coaches and general managers today. One I want to talk to tomorrow, Mike McDonald. I want to ask him about Byron Murphy. But I thought you had an interesting nugget on T'Vondre Sweat that came up today pertaining to Tennessee, because generally, unless these reporters are really on their game, they don't really ask about guys like T'Vondre Sweat, defensive tackles, inside linebackers.
And then to this guy's credit, I didn't ask about Sweat.
Yeah,
it was somebody else. In Tennessee, man, T'Vondre Sweat's a dude for them, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a guy who they look at and who the media is asking about, and they're like, well, how does he fit in new head coach Robert Saleh's scheme? We know that Saleh, you know, he went on to be a head coach there for a little while for the New York Jets. That thing failed spectacularly, but definitely a long time, super, super respected defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. He goes back to San Francisco this year, says he feels a lot more, you know, he's just like, this is my second time. It's like my first time, it was, you know, the old, you know, Brent Venables, you know, sucking through the fire hose or whatever. You know, this time he feels like, you know, he's coming in, he's grounded. He knows a lot more about what he needs to do and get done. And so we certainly hope for the best for him in Tennessee, I suppose. But somebody asked about Sweat, you know, and about how he kind of fits in the scheme, and what he said was, it's good news for Sweat, and then maybe slightly less comfortable news. He basically said, for one, he loves him as a player. He said that just if you watch his feet and you watch his foot quickness and watch his foot speed, this is a guy this is a sicko that's been in the film room getting sick watching his T'Vondre Sweat cut-ups, because you can tell that for one he's just a film junkie, right? And he really gets excited about watching some of these players, all talking about their different traits. Somebody asked him about Ruben Bain today, right? And he's just like, he loves just talking about these players and what he sees on tape and all the rest. A lot more open than a lot of these other coaches about that stuff. And he was like, the fleetness of foot, the quickness, the foot speed at that size. He's like, it's uncanny. It's unbelievable. He said, I love T'Vondre Sweat. He's basically set up right now, and he's in line to take on one of the most important roles on our whole entire defense, And so that's the good news. The bad news is, he said, it's not going to be easy for him. He basically said that what they expect from that position, he said, it's going to take him a whole lot of work for him to kind of transition into it. And that he hopes he's ready to come to work. So it sounds like for Sweat, he's going to have a massive opportunity ahead of him here to be a key cog in a defensive structure that we've seen in the past. Maybe not so much this last year with San Francisco with all the injuries that they had, right? But we've seen in the past be an elite unit that's helped carry that team even in the face of multiple injuries across the entire offense with the 49ers. Then these guys end up going to, making playoff runs. Championship level team. And he said that Sweat's going to be a key cog. I think he's got some Robert Saleh boot camp coming up right now. And I hope he can rise to the occasion. I'm not saying that I've ever thought of T'Vondre Sweat as somebody who can't, but he's certainly, it's going to be a time where it's like, this is the year he's got to strap it up, dude, and just be ready to go. He's going to be presented with a golden opportunity.
It's like that's the big Quinnen Williams role that he had up in New York. It's the Javon Kinlaw role, big role in that solid defense. A former roommate of T'Vondre Sweat is Jonathon Brooks, who's playing running back for the Carolina Panthers. And obviously we haven't seen him play football in a couple of years, but he's dealt with a couple of knee injuries, obviously the one at Texas, and then again at Carolina, it reared its head back up.
They stupidly pushed him back.
We talked about that on our roster watch show, man. It was like, you should never have put him back in as early as they did. He re-injures the knee. He didn't play in 2025. And so we saw Rico Dowdle play next to Chuba Hubbard in that backfield. Chuba Hubbard got paid. They actually went out and drafted Trevor Etienne, who Texas fans will remember from those couple games back in 2024 from Georgia. And I asked Dan Morgan, the general manager from Carolina today, about that backfield because Rico Dowdle is a free agent now, and they have raved. And he said he's excited for, he's proud of, he's looking forward to. Like, he used all the buzzwords when talking about Jonathon Brooks and his recovery and where he sits today, February 24th.
Did he say, I wasn't there, did he say he's like, did you ask him, is he running and cutting? Do we know?
They didn't get into like the nuance of what he was physically doing, but the fact that they said he was this far along, we heard a little bit about it, like a little buzz come out a couple of weeks ago about his recovery. But for him to say how excited he was about it with Rico Dowdle entering free agency, they're going to lean on Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard got a 4-year deal like a year ago. And then they also drafted Trevor Etienne. But I think there's going to be plenty of opportunity. He's not going to be forced into action, but it's positive news for Jonathon Brooks, for Texas fans to just know that he's going to get more opportunity, and they have not allowed that ship to sail on a running back that they spent that second-round draft capital on, and that we saw have a phenomenal 1,000-yard season at Texas just a couple of years ago. He's going to get opportunities at Carolina in 2026, it seems like.
Yeah. More news about former Longhorns here with Matthew Golden. I asked Packers GM Brian Gutekunst about just like, I think everybody knows that Matthew Golden probably didn't have the year that we would have expected or hoped, based on him being like the 23rd overall pick, first round pick. I forgot what pick it was. first round pick last year to the Green Bay Packers. I asked, was this year that he had this last year? And I don't have his exact stats pulled up. They were underwhelming. It wasn't, it wasn't a banner year for Golden at all as a rookie. But I asked, what do they expect moving forward? What is his trajectory within the scheme? Like, what are the things that you might be seeing behind the curtain that we aren't seeing as people that just get to watch the games on Sundays? And he said that for one, you have to remember that Matthew Golden was a 3-year player in college, and he played 2 of his years at Houston. And to me, whenever I hear 2 of his years at Houston, I think to myself, all right, well, Houston now is a Big 12 team, right, and all this stuff. But for at least 1 year of Golden, it was not, right?
AAC.
And then I think for Golden's whole time, it was Holgerson.
Yep.
Because
Willie Fritz didn't get there until 2 years ago.
Which was Golden was last, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you can read into that saying like, well, when these guys come from these kind of air raid sort of disciple teams, they always need a little bit more work and a little bit more time and seasoning. He's like he only had 1 year at Texas, right? So he's kind of like Gutekunst in a certain way. He's like, well, dang, I drafted this dude, with my first round pick, the first time that Green Bay's done that in what was it, 30 years or whatever, first round pick wide receiver.
Yep.
So some of that's probably his kind of, defending his pick a little bit. I can understand that, but he just said he couldn't have been, he said he wishes he would have, he would have gotten the opportunities this year, but you have to remember that he was just the 3-year player in college, 2 of those at Houston, and that his ceiling is very, very high, and they are very, very excited for what he's going to do for our football team moving forward. And I think it's notable that Romeo Doubs is going to be a free agent. He's heading into free agency now, and you got Christian Watson, who will be set to be a free agent next year. Jaden Reed can't stay healthy. Dontavian Wicks can't stay healthy, and he's not even that good. So I think it's just you put all these things together, the organizational buy-in that they have there, the draft and develop mentality and mantra that the Green Bay Packers have, that Gutekunst continued not only in this question to address, but also through other questions you address. And not to say that Matthew Golden is going to be the next Devontae Adams, but remember that Devontae Adams, when he got to Green Bay, was at first there. I mean, people thought that this guy stinks.
Yeah, it was right around the Devontae Parker years, and it was like 3 years of nothing, and then he broke through in year 4, right?
Yeah, it's just so with him saying with him invoking this whole thing about us being a draft and develop team, he's kind of like, to me, when I think about that, I think about the wide receivers that they brought in and that they've thought highly of, that they stuck with, that they developed, that the organizational buy-in was there for them. With all these guys that have come up, as far as these kind of the Ron Wolf scouts and the guys that had the guys who had kind of been there in that organization, all very homegrown stuff, all very draft and developed. So I think that the best is still ahead for Matthew Golden. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we maybe can finish with the Anthill stuff?
I didn't have any other notes from today regarding Texas players, other than there is a couple of PrizePicks availabilities up that you guys can go take advantage of.
Promo code Orange Bloods.
We did a show the other day. We're not going to do a PrizePicks show on the Orange Blood channel. You just have to tap in every single day this week to Football with Friends, because we will talk about
We should remember our promo code, though, in the promo. I believe it's still promo code Orange Bloods.
Yeah.
If you deposit $5, you get $50 free. Is that right?
I believe play $5, instantly get $50. Use code Orange Bloods is the
So let's
code.
so let's make some money today. Let's put together one from here on Tuesday.
Jonah Coleman, running back from Washington.
That's the one that I'll put in. I think he runs. We got it at 4.52 earlier today. I think now it's sitting at 4.53.
Yep.
I think he goes over that. Jonah Coleman, a real kind of bowling ball of a runner, reminds you a little bit of one of this kind of Doug Martin, Ray Rice, Maurice Jones-Drew, Ray Davis, this type of runner, right? Good player,
not a 4.4 guy.
He's never going to run in the 4.4s, and I just think that the low 4.5 seems a little bit low to him. I've always considered more of a guy that's going to be running between 4.55 and 4.6.
Yeah.
And so his right now is sitting at 4.53. I would take the more on that one.
I also like Jeremiah Love over 4.39. You're not as in love with it as I am, but I think he runs higher 4.4s. The running back from Notre Dame, it's at 4.39 right now. I don't see 4.39. There's people out there that are, pontificating about 4.3s. I don't see it. I think he's a mid to high 4.4 guy, best case scenario. So that's their one from that perspective. And then we discussed Denzel Boston. Did you come out on my side with that one? That one's at 4.49 right now. I took the under him.
I mean, people think Denzel Boston from Washington is going to run in the 4.5s. Cody's convinced that it's more like
4.44,
a mid to low 4.4s.
Yeah.
And when I watched the tape, I was like, it's faster than what you look like NFL Draft Scout or whatever. They have him at 4.53 or 4.54. I think it's faster than that. But
so you're a push on the 4.49.
I'm kind of a push there. I kind of think that's actually, I think he might run a 4.49. Mine is with Mekhi Lemon at 4.5. I think that guy's, he has to run 4.4s.
Yeah.
Right.
Or don't run.
Right. Because it's like, if you look at this guy, the Biletnikoff Award winner this last year, awesome player, looks like a miniature version of Amon-Ra St. Brown. The question is, how miniature is he? Right? Is he 5'9"? He might be. And if he shows up and he's 5'9" and he runs something 4.5 plus, his agent's not going to allow that to happen. So
unless his agent is inept, which we've seen a couple times happen.
Yeah. And so I think that the worst that could happen would be your agent's not inept if you're somebody that's being talked, if you're the Biletnikoff Award winner. I don't think.
We should probably check on that and see if it's –
yeah. And so I would just say his agent will not let him run if he's going to run something over 4.5.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then so just take the less, and then if it turns out that he doesn't run, you just get that pick gets refunded. It's not, it isn't like you lose the money.
Well, you'd still win if you get those other two picks that we gave you with Jonah Coleman and Jeremiah.
I actually
Love.
Need to put one in. I don't think I put in that exact iteration just yet.
I think we should do that right after the show. But.
So we'll that one more quick thing on Anthony Hill. So dude, he has a ton of interviews. I was told he had 10 formal interviews yesterday. And this is notable because this isn't like the Senior Bowl where every team interviews every single player, right? You don't have that many. You have a certain number. I forget how many it is here at the Combine. And then you have your 30 visits back at the facility, right? Here at the Combine, I should have looked it up beforehand because it would have given good context here. But the fact that he had 10 interviews yesterday, he had 12 more scheduled today on Tuesday, 22. That's an absurd number of interviews. That's the kind of stuff that you would see like in past years where people would say like, oh my God, Joe Alt had 26 interviews.
Yeah.
And you'd be like with Joe Alt, you say, well, that's stupid because, a bunch of those teams know he's not going to fall to him. I think with Anthony Hill, the spot he might fall to is so wide open that so many teams want to kind of talk to him. Just two things to keep in mind here with this and two possible landing spots. One is with the Ravens. So what I was told from somebody with knowledge of the situation is that he really liked his interview with the Ravens because their linebackers coach, Tyler Santucci, was apparently one of the maybe the main reason that he committed to Texas A&M originally before he switched his commitment to Texas. Those two dudes love each other, right? And the Ravens pick at 14, but I think their pick at 45 would be the one that they're maybe hoping if they could get that kind of rekindle that thing would be the one that they would be interested in. 14 seems a little bit high for Ant Hill right now. And the second thing, and Cody, this is the big one, is that And I don't know whether this was just said in jest or whether this was kind of just these guys joke around and they mess around with each other and stuff. But they said it was with the Buffalo Bills, and the Bills pick at 26. And I've always said that's my dream spot for them because they have a giant need at linebacker.
And they had Tremaine Edmonds there forever. Like that's like kind
Yeah.
of a good comp for him too.
Dude, and just, so what they told Ant Hill in their meeting was that apparently they joked with them saying like, hey man, like we hope you don't run a fast 40, because what that could mean is that there's a possibility that you fall to us at pick 26.